are here to have the discussion, number one. Number two, only a minority of board members thought this was an emergency and asked for
Lack of transparency.
The TRO referred to notice under the Open Meetings Act, and the standard notice is 48 hours. We had a meeting scheduled for tonight, and we are having the discussion right now.
Last Friday.
Hey, folks, can we please follow proper decorum? We want to get through this meeting, and I know everybody's passionate about this, but in all seriousness, can we let the board have the discussion? We can't have people shouting from the back row, similar to what our students said earlier. Let's all listen to each other. Let's hear each other out, please. Proper decorum.
So on this topic of mask optional, I would love if we and everyone here in the room and all of the kids that came to school tomorrow and for the rest of the school year, if they wished, leave their masks at home. I'd love for that to happen. Now, part of what I'm thinking about here, and we're having a discussion, and I'm not giving a defined opinion, is we've had the conversation of the TRO, we've read a lot of our community members' comments on those, saying by not allowing for mask optional, it's opening up litigation liability for the district. That's a violation of due process, which has been a part of the conversation. I'm sure that many people have read that conversation. Now, there is a reverse argument to that, which I'm not saying one way or the other it carries any greater risk or not, but something that's less considered. We talked about it at the board last summer at multiple different meetings, and it has to do with when we go against prevailing public health guidance, which people may not agree with. I'm not saying, I'm not a doctor, I'm not weighing in on that aspect right now, but when we go against prevailing public health guidance, we do leave ourselves open to losing what is called tort immunity in the case of a lawsuit filed against us, which is a very large liability. Now, whether we make a decision to go mask optional or not, there's a risk on both sides. There's a risk of litigation on both sides. I don't know if it's how practical or actionable that litigation is, but it is a consideration that this board has to take. As has been mentioned many times, we are fiduciaries of this district, and we have to make sure that we are responsible for the liability that we could incur on the actions that we take here, the actions that we take tonight. And it's something that we had, again, conversation in insurance, in committee meetings last year, committee meetings of the board as a whole. And a reason why we did not flout the executive orders last year and go mask optional was because of, in part, the sacrificing of tort liability or tort immunity that we would leave ourselves open to. An additional consideration that we have to consider. And again, the stay may be denied by the court, right? It hasn't happened yet, and we certainly know that Governor Pritzker, didn't wait until 5 minutes ago to issue it. It's been there, and there's a set time limit for it to come back from the appeals court. At the same time, if that stay is granted, if the TRO is thrown out, there's a different risk that I'll remind everybody of at the beginning of the school year. We did not face it here as a district. It wasn't something that we had. But we saw with one of our neighbor schools, a private school, where they decided to, again, go against the public health guidance. And they found their recognition permitted to be revoked immediately. That recognition basically means that your kids' diplomas would not count as a valid high school diploma from the state of Illinois. These are the risks that we have to consider when we're making the decision. I know people might not think there is a risk, but risk exists on both sides, one way or the other.
To give the community a little color by contrast, District 86 has insurance that Mr. Held referenced. We are in what's called co-op, which several different districts join together, obviously, in an attempt to, by pooling numbers, to drive down their premiums. Of course, they're exposed to each other's risk, etc. Long story short, we're in a co-op called Meeting2. There's another school, I believe it's in, I'm not gonna say the name because I keep forgetting the name, but there's another school in our same co-op that has gone mask optional. And as I referenced earlier, and as I've heard, 250, 350 schools in the state have chosen to go mask optional. I'm assuming that those particular districts aren't taking egregious risks either, and we can go mask optional.